The stuff that we were working on is like, oh, that'll come out next year, and the stuff that these guys work out comes out in 3 months. It's just very different. After each of these presentations, I'd like to open up to questions as well. If you have questions about anything we discussed with Mike just now, or any questions about the business side of things and our relationship with, our relationship with each other now, but White Wolf's relationship with CCP initially. Yes?
Of course, you're currently White Wolf publishes books and CCP publishes games still. Is it easy to combine these schedules, because of course the publishing business already has the 18 months or 4 months schedule?
Right. So it's not a mixing of the business per se, like not the products, but the way that individuals work on their products. So people from White Wolf have come to work on CCP products now, namely the World of Darkness project, where we're making a video game, but we're making it out of our books. So a lot of people working on it, game designers and some artists, are have that brain of planning that content, very much in advance, laying it out in an outline, working on it piece by piece, contracting people to do it, instead of our current software development methodology, which requires 2-week iterations. So that's very, very different. They're creating something and being done with it in 2 weeks, and then possibly throwing it out and doing something else. At White Wolf, we picked a book or an idea and said in 24 months we're going to publish this book, and there was no stopping halfway through and saying, no, we can't do this, we can't iterate. It's making sure it's perfect, or as close to perfect as we can, that one time out. Anybody else have a question before I move on? The next conversation is with Justin Akili, who you may or may not be familiar with. He was a vampire developer for many, many, many years. He's also done game design on a number of things, and he was kind of the foremost expert on the World of Darkness at White Wolf for the longest time, and after many years of threatening to leave White Wolf, he did for 1 year. He took a break, and just after the merger with CCP, he decided to come back to us and work on the World of Darkness project. Super nice guy, and he's known for his antics, and there's stories about him, throwing trash cans through windows and waking up, drunk in conference rooms and all sorts of stuff. So he's always a fun guy. Let's see if this works. Give us, I guess, your first experiences with the guys from CCP. Like, what are they like?
When I first met the guys at CCP, I was taking a year off from White Wolf, and I hadn't met the CCP guys before that. And we got together at Gen Con. I came up to play the party there, see my old White Wolf friends, and meet some of the new CCP guys. Unbeknownst to me that White Wolf and CCP were talking about potential doing things together. And that was a lot of fun. The companies are very much alike culturally in that I think we're probably, White Wolf was the biggest drinkers in the tabletop RPG business, and CCP surely no stranger to the beer mug the video games business. So there was a little bit of commonality there between the two companies. And I remember that Gen Con, me and Rainer ending up in the pool on the 3rd floor of the Marriott?
The Hyatt.
The Hyatt?
I think we broke it because
throwing stuff in the pool, got naked. Yeah, it was interesting.
Absolutely. Give us, how has it been since the merger? Obviously, there was that time for, when you came back to us, there was a time of, kind of filling each other out in the workspace. And it was one thing to go party with the guys, but then, you start to meet them and work with them every day. What's that been like?
There is, one of the things that I've noticed about working White Wolf, I've been here 15 years, and a lot of my friends are my work friends. I have more friends at work than I do outside work, and most common interests with the guys at work. So when we go out socially, we go to a bar, we go to dinner or something, we end up talking about work, we end up bouncing ideas off one another. And that was one of the things that struck me too about once I came back to work for White Wolf /CCP, we were going to Reykjavik probably once a month, and we would go out and the discussions would happen the same way. We'd go out for a few beers, we go to the office and conduct a work day, then we go out for beers afterward, have dinner afterward, and all the conversation remained the same. While we were at work, we're talking friendly, and while we're out away from work, we're talking work sort of stuff, so there's a good back and forth between there. Both companies are very, very social creatures. You can even see it like in the day-to-day here when we do design. Very different people. There's a very distinct European outlook that comes out of the Reykjavik office, and there's a very distinct American outlook that comes here out of the Atlanta office, and we often kind of turn that up to 11. You know, we'll be the rah-rah, red, white, and blue patriot Americans, and there'll be the godless socialist Europeans, and but you know, all that's just kind of posturing. You know, that's just kind of our way of kidding around and becoming friends with one another, when really it's very similar to the way we look at things. You know, we see a problem, we see something that needs to design, and we critically break it down. Okay, what's the actual issue here? What information do we need to communicate to the player? How do we want to communicate that information to the player? What's the ultimate experience we want to create? Those are exactly the same regardless of which company you come from. You know, you're looking at the same critical questions and answering them regardless of your personal outlook or, you know, kind of the posture you're taking.
The transplant from Iceland that had worked on EVE previously have a couple guys like Rainer Hardison, the Thorarson brothers. A lot of them had played White Wolf games previously and came to us. Did they have a particular creative direction they wanted to go in regarding Well of Darkness or other designs?
As part of the original, I don't want to say the original designers of it, because everyone's still working on design, but the Thorarson brothers in particular, they came from a much longer and much more storied MMO environment than the White Wolf guys did. So they have, I think, great perspectives on both playing MMOs and the social dynamics of the groups of people who play MMOs. Whereas from the White Wolf perspective, myself and Bill and the other designers who are now working with content came at it with the perspective of getting 6 people together around a tabletop, and you have an actual living storyteller who can, on the fly make decisions. So we come at it with a more, I guess, narrative sense, and they come at it with a more experiential sense of, playing the game. So that's always kind of a breakdown, not breakdown, but 2 different distinct ways of playing a type of game like that. We're more of the role players, the amateur thespian types, and they're more of the game for the sake of the game type of guys. And that creates a good, not compromise, but you get both perspectives there, and you get something that appeals to more people than one that way. The Thorarson brothers themselves, they're not strangers to RPG. Certainly, they actually made their own and published their own RPG about playing an avatar of the Norse gods and things like that. So there's certainly back and forth between there. And I had played EVE before even I knew that White Wolf and CCP were talking to one another. So there's certainly a lot of bleed over there. But ultimately, what you're looking at is different backgrounds and putting them together in one big melting pot.
Do you find yourself when doing game design that you fall back into that thinking of a small intimate group and how that the story's going to affect that small intimate group, or do you have to force yourself to think in the big picture and in the long-term story?
It's very different. It's very different. I remember working on when I was developing Vampire the Masquerade and Vampire the Requiem. I would take manuscripts and I would go in my office and I'd close the door, and 6 weeks later I would urge, here's a book, go make it happen. Whereas now, every day you're working with a team. Every day you're working with someone who's in a different discipline than you. I'm a designer, I'm working with a programmer, and we're working with a QA guy, and there's maybe an artist involved in this. And on top of those different disciplines are the different cultural backgrounds or the different play style backgrounds. So I don't look at it as I have to force myself to think differently. I actually challenge myself to think differently. And one of the things that I'm a big advocate of is bringing games design into a more social type medium. I want to take the guys who are friends together around the table, except I want to do it with 50,000 other people who happen to be on the server at the same time I am. That's different applications from your traditional MMO style. Everyone's avatars get together and go do a PvE type thing in the game. But also my interests are in the downtime after we call them tokens. Zeo design is a word we borrowed from Nicole Lazar with Zeo design, where if we go do this thing in game, we have a memory of the thing we did in game. So we talk about the memory of that thing. So now you and I have this common point of relationship, and we can say, hey, do you remember when we went and killed the dragon or took down that titan? And the relationship that we forge talking about it is bigger than the doing of it itself. And that's the sort of thing that I want to foster.
It's a massive undertaking to try to not only design and develop a very, very large game, but also to try to craft experiences of the community outside the game.
Yes, it's huge. It's huge. Again, that's the sort of thing where around the table when you've got 4 to 6 people, a storyteller can control that because he's the guy, he's the choke point that everything flows through. But that's also, I think, kind of what CCP is really good at, and White Wolf is really good at. We both created these worlds, and then just unabashedly hear players do what you want with this world. CCP built the universe, and now you have groups of people engaging in sovereignty activities. This is our space, stay the hell out of it. That's fine, it's not our business as a company to tell you you can and can't do that. And that's something you see in World of Darkness. It wasn't always about the signature characters, even though we had them. Our best signature character, I think, was the World of Darkness itself. And that's something that the players take and run with. Your World of Darkness is the same as my World of Darkness, and the things that we're drawing from it are different. So even ultimately when we play, we finally do launch game that has not been announced. Your experience with it will be different, my experience will be different, and we'll just have points of commonality in the middle there. So yes, it's huge. It's basically like saying everyone in Facebook experiences this way, everyone who's playing WoW experiences this way. We're trying to be as broad as possible, but at the same time, let people do what they want to do, as has been the CCP and White Wolf way.
Well, thanks for your time, and